All right, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, how are ya?
Not bad yourself.
Yeah, good. So this is our digital artifact for BCM215 game media. It's a examination or analysis of Discord as a gaming paratext.
That was a great intro.
It really wasn't.
I thought so.
Oh dear, no. I mean, you got to have a bit of banter at the beginning of a podcast. It's what Joe Rogan does, which
Yeah,
is
exactly.
for sure.
Works
Yeah.
for him.
Oh yeah, I think he released a new one today with Edward Snowden, which is crazy. But we're getting off topic,
Oh.
immediately getting off topic, which is a great sign of a good podcast. So what we want to look at with Discord is specifically how one really innocuous little program that's like it's not unique at all seems to have become this critical vector for modern gamer communities. And I said that with the gamer voice as well. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
That's right. And even like communities outside of gaming as well, which is super.
Yeah, it's what I found is it's kind of become its own little social network of sorts. And the co-founder is quite reluctant to say so, but he's admitted it himself.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's like I don't even know who is the co-founder is what it's Jason Citron who
That's him. Yep.
Yeah. So Jason used to work. Well, he founded OpenFaint, which is a similar program that was set up in what 2015, 2016. No, earlier than that. 2011.
No, earlier than that. Yeah, because yeah, way earlier than that. And then that moved over to that then became Discord later on, that company.
Which is crazy, like to even think that because OpenFaint was quite similar as well in a lot of respects because it had the whole like the community focus. It wasn't unique. It was one of many applications that decided to do the
trying
job
to do the same thing.
Yeah, have you got an image of? I'm trying to get an image of the OpenFaint logo set up.
Do you want to hit us with a list of Discord sites that you're on?
Oh yeah, so let's start with that. Like, are you a regular Discord user or is this
I'm not a regular Discord user, but I still have it, and
Yeah.
a lot of my friends are regulars on it.
Yeah, sick. Okay, so for research purposes, I've got my own personal the Discord that my friends are on, like my friends from high school. I'm also an admin of the Digital Media Society Discord server, which was set up by another student as well, which is super exciting. There's the Discord for this server as well, for this subject as well, Game Media, which Chris set up at the beginning of the session, which is exciting. And then I'm on a couple of non-gaming related Discord servers as well, which is kind of crazy.
Okay, so what are they like focused on?
So there's one which is a streamer, so that is kind of gaming related, but that isn't.
Yeah.
It's more just a place where he can dump his stream link saying, "Hey, I'm streaming now," as well as having his Twitch notifications. We've also got the Mechanical Keyboards Australia Discord, which I'm a part of, and I'm also on an open source intelligence Discord as well, which is just that's a really like a deep rabbit hole to go down into, but basically it's people sending bits of information to each other to discern like ship movements, if there's any issues going on in say the South China Sea or in Syria or something. It's that kind of thing. It's really cool. But,
that is cool.
Yeah, there's so many applications for it outside of gaming, which I think is really exciting, and it's probably one of the largest reasons why it's become so successful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for me, when I am on Discord, I will always check my I would say high school friends server. Well, I should say group, and then I'm on a few other for like games, and that's basically these are just games that are still in development, and they're just communicating with their community, and the community is just providing feedback on a few features, and we'll go into it a little bit more, but they're able to vote on what they'd like in the game next. So it's quite cool.
That's awesome. Wow.
And that's pretty much the entirety of my Discord, and of course the BCM215.
Oh, of course. Can't miss that.
Yeah.
No, it's fun. There we go. Alrighty, cool. So yeah, I guess we should probably start with like Discord as a business, because we are in a time where a lot of new media companies are like sort of struggling to find ways to make a profit, and people questioning how they make money. So like, what is Discord as a business? Because this is something that you looked into.
Discord as a business, how would I put it? As I mentioned earlier, it's becoming more of a social network kind of site. It's still considered a very much a gaming kind of platform, where a lot of games or a lot of people that are interested in games and sharing games come to discuss games and kind of communicate almost anything to do with games, but it's always in group specific to specific games.
Yep.
And it's quite different when compared to things like Facebook groups or like Reddit. A little bit on the business side of Discord here. Corporation's self-owned, so it's not public yet. The way they make money is primarily through raising funds every so often. So they raise capital by numerous investors, and some of those investors I've looked into and have actually come up as potential buyers for Discord later down the track, but we won't go too much into that. Secondary, they have an ancillary revenue stream, so that's in the way of selling merchandise and
it's like t-shirts and badges and stuff.
Yeah, so selling like as you said, t-shirts and badges, and we also looked into Discord Nitro as well, which still is their subscription based I would say premium kind of Discord. But they don't take away any of the core offerings from Discord. It's just a few added features, mainly aesthetic.
Yeah, that's basically it. So like it's so like the whole Discord Nitro thing, like it was basically like G Suite. Like if you've used the business plan for Gmail or Google Docs or whatever, like it was what $4.99 a month US. I think it was a bit more expensive, more expensive here. There was also stuff like it would allow you to have bigger servers, bigger file uploads and stuff, which is it's cool if you're using it for business. Like if you're say a game company or something, that would be an essential component of what you're trying to do. Having said that, we're on the Digital Media Society Discord now. It's massive. We've got channels and for text and voice for every available subject in the digital media major, and it's not an issue. So I'm not really sure what the point of that was. Perhaps that's why they torpedoed it a week ago, literally a week ago.
Well, it was it was mainly their Nitro games. So it was what they've slowly kind of phasing it out. So what they've done is they're not renewing any subscriptions. Well, not subscriptions, but they're keeping their subscriptions, but they're not renewing any games or any other people jumping onto the service just because no one was using it really.
Right. Okay.
And yeah, so they've come out and stated that they will offer refunds to those that want it, but yeah, it was just a lack of people using that service.
No, yeah, no. I mean, like, I guess that is demonstrative of Discord is moving away from games a little bit because, like, we're on the Discord for a student society. We're on other ones that aren't necessarily all about gaming. It's still a component of the service, but I would rather use Discord than Slack in terms of a great app to sort of connect with co-workers or something, because it just
is that because you started off using it as a gaming thing and you're familiar with it?
Yes, but it's more I started off using it and then I started a new job about a month ago and they use Slack, and Slack's fine because it's integrated with Atlassian, so you can use, like, I've got Trello and stuff which I add on as well, which if that's your cup of tea and you like integration, but by the same token kind of closed-ended. You can't tab between servers as easily as possible. It feels a bit less intuitive. I was just going to say as well is so I think we mentioned earlier the company's self-owned. It was developed by the creators of OpenFaint, which was Jason Citron. That was launched in 2015. So the OpenFaint connection there is that the platform was sold by the owners in 2011. OpenFaint is now defunct after being sued for like a data breach or something in 2012, which is crazy. Yep. So these guys probably saw the writing on the wall. They sold OpenFaint to a Japanese investment company called Gree, Gree, US 104 million in 2011. So that's what they used to set up Hammer and Chisel, which is Discord's parent company, and then they sunk all their remaining capital into developing this.
Yeah, and the thing I read, because I looked into potential buyers later down the road for Discord, and one of the things that was noted was that Jason Citron, co-founder, had a bad experience when he went to go sell OpenFaint. He still thought he was going to have some control over the company and was able to kind of be a part of that and see it through. But no, that was not what he ended up with at the end.
So this was the final sale to Gree. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So yeah, that might influence where Discord goes in the future, but that's just a side note there.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's like VC. I mean, Gree is clearly some kind of an investment or venture capital firm. Ongoing, that venture capital presence has continued to be a core part of well, we'll call it Discord, even though we're actually talking about Hammer and Chisel, the company, which is that they got that 104 million at startup. You've then had in 2016 they had another 20 million raised from Silicon Valley venture capital firms, and then 150 million was raised in 2018. So the net worth, despite it having no obvious ways of making money outside of intro games and Discord merch, it's valued at 1.65 billion dollars as of the middle of this year, which is insane to me personally.
It's all potential. It's because they've got a massive user base, because they've currently got they've got 250 million users.
Sorry, are these like regular monthly users, or are they people who've just like gotten the app once and thought, I don't really like it, but they still have the account?
I just said that they were their users there.
Okay.
But I'd say, like, for me, I'm not a regular user of Discord at all, but you find yourself coming back to it. I wouldn't imagine there would be a lot of people that have made it and have like left it for a few years and haven't actually come back to it once or twice in the year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with
That's
you.
just the nature of what it's able to do, what it offers, and what's on there. For people that would have actually first signed up on, well, not signed up, but first actually gotten Discord, it's almost hard to stay away from it.
Well, it's like it's integrated itself with sort of gamer culture. I'm going to keep using that voice every time the word gamer comes up. It's ingratiated itself with this system to the point where every self-respecting streamer, every game company needs to have at least some presence on Discord. In order to have any kind of hope of building a community. And I think we'll get into that when we start talking about game communities, because we've both got great examples of how that's been used for business purposes, because it's awesome. But just with the potential buyers as well, you mentioned potential buyers, but I heard something about Discord hiring like an investment firm to look into who would be wanting to buy them, to kind of capitalize on that ridiculous market value.
That was done earlier on in the year. Yeah, so there's a list of potential buyers. This was sparked because Discord had always said that they were going to stick to their core offering, keeping it free, and that the owner had no intention of selling. However, they had actually hired Catalyst Partners, and they're quote unquote a boutique investment bank known for selling major tech companies. So here I've got a few big and major players. So we've got number one, Facebook. Facebook were looking at purchasing, are considered to be a good option for purchasing Discord. The only issue for Facebook, however, is the fact that they're trying to keep Facebook together as is. Because Facebook's so big, there are already people in the industry looking for Facebook to be broken up.
Well, it's like as it is, Facebook is being investigated for antitrust stuff in the US and the UK because of the whole Cambridge Analytica thing. So,
that's just the icing on the cake.
Absolutely. So, what else we got? So we've got Facebook. I assume somebody like Amazon's probably going to want to slice the pie.
Yep. Tencent.
Okay.
Yep.
Surprising.
They're yeah, we'll go into that, and Microsoft.
Yep.
After that, they're the kind of major players. Microsoft, the only drawback is Microsoft right now going down the avenue of like video game streaming, so they're not really that interested in it, and they've already got their major console, Xbox, so that's kind of what they're focusing on. Just quickly, Amazon's probably the best potential buyer or best candidate to purchase Discord, just because they haven't made any other major purchases other than Twitch, and they've got the money really.
They've got more money than they've got at this point, really.
They really do.
And Tencent was interesting because it's invested in Discord prior, like in some of its, I think in its 2016 funding round, they sunk a bit of cash in.
They did, yeah, and that might pull have some pull on the owner, but they've had many issues with trying to acquire things under the current government, under the current US government. I'm not sure that they're in any kind of position to be making massive offerings on Discord at the moment. So Amazon is where I'm kind of speculating it might go if Discord does decide to sell. And if they do decide to sell, I wonder would that affect their core offering, or would that affect the business? Or
you probably see greater degree of integration with, like, you get Nitro or whatever form that event eventually ends up taking, because they don't know how it's gonna, like, whether it's going to survive for another year or not. But Nitro integrated with Amazon Prime subscriptions or something could definitely be on the cards.
Yeah,
if that was the case, for sure. And I think that leads us into our next little thing about the whole technical strata and how sort of what Discord's pedigree is as a platform, where it's come from, where it's going, and why it's working, I guess. Which is the fact. The interesting thing about Discord is that yes, it's built on the model of OpenFaint, and yes, it's got most of the structural qualities of Slack, which is 2 years older than Discord as well. So that's probably why I prefer Discord more than Slack, because it's a bit more refined. It also reflects a lot of qualities that Internet Relay Chat had, which is, as we've got on the sidebar, we've got channels and servers. Even though that doesn't actually correspond to a server somewhere, this is just like purely a way of organizing discussion in communities. Users can also create servers, which is something that you couldn't do on IRC because it's sort of open. It's a lot more open source than IRC was. Which, do you know what IRC is? Because
tell me about that.
Yeah, so IRC is basically, it was 4chan without any of the really perverted stuff. So it's old. It's boring. I think it might still be around. I'm just going to quickly Google it.
Yeah,
it's still around. So basically, it's where all the chat windows that you get in video games, like in, I don't know, World of Warcraft or Overwatch or whatever you happen to play, all of that chatting functionality is built on Internet Relay Chat.
Okay.
And in a lot of ways, it's responsible for the existence of team chat in any video game at all, which is kind of ironic that Discord is now usurping in-game chat in certain ways, because it's more reliable and doesn't drop out like other programs like Skype or TeamSpeak, which is now another aspect of why Discord's been so successful, because it does a better job than just about any other program on the market, really.
Well, one of the good things that you can also mention is that Discord you can run in a browser.
Yes, you can.
Whereas Skype and TeamSpeak is an external application you've got to then boot up and have run as well.
Yeah, and I mean, yes, Skype or TeamSpeak is also freeware, but again, it is a bit janky, I want to say. If that's an academic sounding word, sure.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, and the other thing that is quite curious about Discord's functionality is it's not available on consoles as well. You mentioned earlier that Microsoft being a potential buyer for Discord is quite ironic, considering that Discord's never been available on consoles, and it's increasingly incorporated game distribution and launching functionality in it as well, which is quite open source. My Discord's plugged into my Origin account, my Steam account, my Epic Games account, Battle.net, all the rest of it. It works and it's functional, and that's why I think people like it, because that's something you won't get in Skype as well. And that's something you mentioned. I think you were mentioning before we started recording, which was displaying rich data, so stuff like how long somebody's been in a game, where they're at in the game, and then compatibility with other suites of software as well, like Spotify, like Twitch. There's a lot of stuff going on in it for a free program, and I wonder how long it's going to last like that.
Another thing with that rich data is that it kind of takes away that question that you have to go on and ask your friend, kind of have them stop their game, check their message to see whether there's actually whether they wanted to play, whether there's room in the server, or what game they were playing. So now, that kind of takes that away. It's kind of as part of the context that Discord offers, and it's
Which I think is super ironic as well, because all of the other individual gaming clients like Steam, Origin, Battle.net have their own community functions in one way or another, whether that's text chat, voice chat, or whatever. And I don't recall ever having used any of them in such like how I use Discord, like how anybody I know who is a regular user uses Discord.
Right.
Because it's that kind of, it's like a concentrated one-stop shop for everything. You can jump in and out relatively fluidly, and there isn't too much of an issue. Whereas I have a distinct memory of crashing my parents' computer, tabbing out of a game of Civilization to check Skype, which was I was popular in the house that day, which is great.
You can't see me now, but I'm nodding.
Dear. But and I guess we may as well move on to the whole community thing, because there is one major problem with Discord transcending that, sort of crossing the Rubicon in terms of not just being a program for gamers, but being for online
more of a social network for broader use. A
social network for broader use that still has that dimension of anonymity in it, which is crazy. Which was the 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, which is hugely problematic for a variety of reasons, which we won't go into here. But I guess that's the downside of running any kind of community-focused product, and that's what people on Facebook and stuff have had as well, is that there's always going to be a few. I'm just going to use the word deplorables because it's coming to mind. It does speak to the effectiveness by which Discord can organize communities, to the fact that it bleeds into real life. I don't know. I just think that's really mental. I've experienced that as well with the Mechanical Keyboard community. They have real life meetups and stuff that's organized through the Discords as well. So
Well, I read somewhere that Discord was really trying to like they obviously don't condone any of that, and they're really trying to stop all that from happening and taking place and shutting down those discussions. Really, they're just still struggling with it. Like it's still getting through. There's still those kind of alt right groups. Yeah, we won't get political, but it's Discord's still trying to manage that, and it's still an issue for Discord. So yeah.
But I guess as I said, the same is true for any community. And
Mm.
that whether that's an online community or a real world community, and it's just one of those things you got to deal with, really, because
Success of being a network,
the
social
success of
network.
being a network is when it bleeds into real life, and it's something you could totally say this is great. People are organizing, but also somebody died at this rally that was organized on our platform. So how do you? I don't know how
Yeah.
you balance that. The good
Yeah,
thing
not
that
too
with this,
sure
the
either.
good thing about it though is that Discord does have its own guides to setting up communities. So there's a guide on their website, which actually it's their Medium blog, but it's the same thing. They've got an interview with a guy called Mike Rose, who runs the game publisher No More Robots, which gives an outline of how developers are able to set up Discord servers for their games, gain a bit of feedback, give out exclusive stuff, and generally just build hype, which is great
Mm.
if you're trying to sell a product. It also does give you that feeling of belonging and community. Typically, there's a gap between announcing the game and actually releasing the thing. In that
Mm.
window of 6 months, 2 years, in the case of Star Citizen, 7 years. Sorry, I touched a nerve there.
You did, yeah.
But yeah, in that window, there is this whole opportunity to introduce players to metagame, build hype, and say, hey, this could be you if you just put the $60 or the $80 or the however much you're going to spend on the
Yeah,
collector's edition that comes with a statuette. It's a great way to sort
that is
of get,
definitely a great marketing tool.
yeah, and you build that. I guess you build that mimetic capital in there, is that you've got people who are sharing into it, sharing in this proverbial pie of cultural capital, I guess. So when the game comes out, you've got people who can then go on and refer it to their friends and have a great time,
Mm.
and that's good for you.
And
That's good for your bottom line as well.
with all of Discord's features, they're great at sustaining a community like that. For sustaining that hype, and as you say, yeah, then it's great for marketing and great for selling a game or a product.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the reverse is also true, which is that I'm going to go straight into my case study, which is about Destiny, because that's somewhat what the developer tries to do. So in 2014, Bungie released Destiny. It was their first major release after Halo. They were still kind of finding their feet as an independent company, not specifically affiliated with Microsoft. It was intended to be this evolution of the looter shooter genre, instead turned it into this kind of grind heavy mess. After 3 years of improvements and updates and buffs, they released a sequel with a couple more expansions, but the first game never came out on PC, so it was confined to the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, and then the PS4 and the Xbox One as well. So after the release of Destiny 2, players began to migrate back to the original game, which rather than like coordinating on their consoles or using their chat on PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live, they came back and they set up their own sort of network of different Discord servers. So despite not running on their own consoles, they used this as a community space to organize raids and stuff. And they had fun with this game, which really it had kind of been abandoned by the developer. Like it's crazy. There's this article that I found on Polygon, which they're talking to an admin of one Destiny server, saying, "Yeah, the series has been flawed, and the issues of it aren't going away anytime soon. But it's nice to have a bit of a community of people who have sunk so much time into it. They can continue to come together in solidarity to find the beauty in the experience." Is the quote from
Right.
it. So in a lot of respects, when Destiny 2 came out, it split this community, and a lot of people weren't kind of comfortable with just moving on. So they've
Yeah.
come back and they've played this old thing. There's a whole bunch of servers around, like a community. I found a server specifically for the former Soviet Union's Destiny players. There's one for the Asia Pacific, specifically people looking for games, and then a Discord server for the subreddit as well, R Destiny, which is crazy. What Bungie decided to do in between pulling the game from Battle.net when it was released on PC, I'm referring to Destiny 2, by the
Yep.
way, but when they decided to pull Destiny 2 off Blizzard's Battle.net platform and put it on Steam, the game was down for about 48 hours. In that window, and this is for an 18-month-old game, in that window they decided rather than just kind of sort of twiddling their thumbs and waiting for people to jump over, they set up their own official Discord server, which massive. There's about 16,000 users. No, I think
Okay. Wow.
it might be even more than that. Let me just have a look. Oh, I lied. No, there's 28,500 users,
Jeez.
which is incredible. So what they did was basically the same thing. They wanted to set up this community or find a hub for a community that didn't really have a home for a couple of days. Talk to people about it. They've got their community managers on there as well. They can hang out, make memes, look for game, organize raids and stuff. And it's on a platform that everybody has access to, rather than people organizing specifically for Xbox or for PlayStation, which is just incredible to me because there's no way that would have happened had the game A, not come out on PC, but B, it wouldn't have worked for a subreddit as well because the subreddit is arguably a lot more niche of a community. So they've got links to their subreddits, plural, and all of the other Destiny subreddits that popped up beforehand as well. So if somebody who wants to go and play Destiny 1, they can do that. They can find people who will teach them how to, teach them the metagame in that respect.
Is there any more to add to that?
No, that's
Okay,
me
awesome.
done on that. Yeah. Do you want to tab out on,
Awesome.
because you've got your own example as well, which is cool.
I do, yeah. So I was looking at more of the in-text chat, and also looking at why and how Discord's kind of like really good for the community. We've kind of mentioned a few of the reasons earlier on, but I was using mainly Holdfast and this game called Stormworks. So that's Holdfast Nations at War and Stormworks. Mainly because number one, there's two games that I on and off play, and number two, mainly because they would not be the same game had they not been heavily reliant on Discord.
Stormworks is it's about like disaster relief and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. So just quickly on Stormworks, it's almost kind of like a Minecraft. You kind of build your own vessel creation, and you're tasked with basically fighting fires or saving people around this really large map. It's a procedurally generated, it's a seed map, and yeah, it's quite cool.
Yes.
And Holdfast Nations at War is a Napoleonic styled game where it's I don't say it's a massive multiplayer, but it's just a multiplayer game. You're given a rifle. You're in like a costume basically. There's no real objective, and people end up going over and shooting the enemy. And what's really cool about that is that some people play the game quite differently. Because they have access to Discord, and I want to touch on that just later on. But firstly, what I think is really awesome about Discord is that, especially for these games that are still work in progress, is that Discord and the community on them, and the devs talking and communicating with their community, is that they're able to kind of host these ideas and concepts that aren't actually active in the game just yet.
Yeah, so like, it's kind of like an open beta test, which is it's kind of what the Destiny people do, but because they've released the game's done.
Yeah,
there's not really that element there.
Right. So in this regard, you've kind of got like some concept art that's been thrown up there, some kind of work in progress GIFs that might be displayed, and they're kind of looking for that community feedback to see how, like, whether that's like kind of getting any traction, whether that's what the community wants. Because at the end of the day, it's about kind of pleasing your community to basically make a product, a video game that will be popular and will be liked. And kind of Discord is their main way of doing that, especially in these two games. So yeah, I thought it was really cool to have kind of material that actually doesn't even exist yet. It's just kind of like a concept in the developer's head. They've kind of pitched it to. It's kind of like a way of pitching it to their community to see whether they want that in their game.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, another thing to add to that is that Discord, when these developers put up like these kind of concepts and this kind of art, they're able to kind of vote on, especially on new features that they might want included. So that kind of is just amazing for the community, because it gives the community a sense of engagement and a sense of belonging to that kind of game and along the game's journey. And that kind of just turns gamers into like this kind of promoting machine, and they go and they basically promote the game to their friends and to their smaller communities online, and that's kind of how games get successful as well. So I thought that was quite cool. Another reason why Discord is so popular and so great for community building is because, as we mentioned before, it's literally the one-stop shop for gamers, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a modern platform. It does everything gamers do. I say gamers.
Yeah.
That they do when they communicate. So we're always posting GIFs. YouTube videos can be embedded. That's a big must for me. Yeah. Posting links. So also for big gamers, like jumping onto Twitch, you can jump onto Twitch through Discord and not even have to close Discord.
Yeah.
Giphy and Tumblr both run natively through Discord, which is awesome.
Heaps good.
So those kind of features, it's those small little things.
I was just going to say as well as like GIFs from Giphy, etc., run natively on Discord. Look what we have as literally the first image in the chat, which is just the Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, like it's great, and it's entertaining when you don't have to. Like it doesn't break immersion when everything runs natively. You don't have to tab
Yeah.
out and go to another thing. And that goes back to the whole point that we said earlier about like why Discord's better than Skype or TeamSpeak, because
Mm.
everything works with it. It's not trying to wall you off from specific things
Yeah.
for whatever reason that might be. Yeah.
Another thing when I go to compare why people still choose Discord over not even other platforms, but over say offering text in text options or in text discussions in games. So if you've got your little in text window there, or kind of like a push to talk, it's mainly because it really links back to what Discord's kind of mission is. It's basically to provide gamers with a kind of a free platform to communicate on. And because it's free, they're able to have such a large, like if you look at the screen, and especially if you've got this like on a relatively wide monitor, you've got such a wide, because they're not advertising anything, they've got such a big like a large room and a whole lot of real estate for just the discussion itself. So if you compare that to like games when they have like a little in text window or a little chat, like if you're trying to have a conversation with someone, it gets lost straight away. Holdfast is a great example of that. They just disappear, and it's literally a very small. I'll have a little image of that. And also on top of that, they've got a few bots that just basically scream out "Join Discord," and so that also takes up more room. So yeah,
which is quite ironic because it means that somebody has at least seen that it's a problem. It's like, yeah, look, what if we just stopped using the native chat and we just went and had our own Discord server? Holdfast has its own Discord server, yeah?
Holdfast has many Discord servers.
Right.
So,
okay.
Because of the nature of Holdfast, and because it's like a Napoleonic themed game, you have all these different regiments, right?
Yeah.
So you've got all these line regiments that are these little groups that you can join in the official Holdfast Discord server.
Yeah.
And then you've also got people creating their own line regiments on their own private Discord servers on top of that as well. Holdfast wouldn't be like, it was very much built, even though it has the in-text chat option, it was very much built with Discord in mind. It would not be the same game. So number one, if we're looking at Holdfast, the game, Holdfast is quite like an arcadey kind of game, but yet there's two games kind of being played. So you've got like this arcadey kind of game where there's people not really doing much. They're kind of running around and shooting people, and it's very disorganized.
Yeah.
But yet you've got these people in these line regiments that use Discord, organizing these kind of battles, and the players play the game completely different. Even though the rules haven't really changed, there's been no game modes, or there's no influences from the developers. It is literally just the users jumping on Discord, creating a group, and playing the game completely different. So like they'll line up in like regiments and they'll shoot at each other. Like kind of, it almost becomes like a historical reenactment without like a scripted battle. Really,
yeah.
There's no scripted result. It's kind of like it's like Discord is like a bit of a mod, like a bit of a modification for a game.
It's like how you would have I don't know, like a Minecraft mod or some kind of plugin if you were using another program.
Yeah. So I thought it was quite cool.
No, that's awesome.
And back to having the community help develop and support a game through its development phase is that Discord itself doesn't actually have, and you could probably speak to this a lot more than I can, doesn't really have a toxic community.
Well, yeah, but I guess that's because the communities occur in their own little silos. Like, yes, you can build a community in it, and I assume that there are Discord servers with crap people on them. But
yeah,
I think it speaks to the fact that nobody necessarily feels excluded for any specific reason, other than, I don't know, unless you're that one person who thinks that like chucking racist stuff in the chat's okay, which it clearly isn't. But unless you've done something really like crap to earn the ire of people, which is also how it works in real life. It's a great community. Everybody's really constructive. And the fact that that's occurring across just about every server that I'm a part of, certainly. And
I think it's quite amazing, really.
Like it's great that it works like that. And I don't know, it gives me a lot more confidence because to kind of post stuff actively on Discord servers. I've been using Reddit for like 5 years. I only really started posting regularly this year. I've been using Discord for less than half that time, and
you're much more confident.
I'm much more confident on, and I use it regularly. Like I'm on a whole bunch of different communities, and that's exciting. That's really good fun.
That is really cool. Another thing I wanted to add, just to wrap up, is that Discord, and I mentioned like voting for things much earlier on. Discord is much better at kind of communicating to developers what they want to see in games.
Yeah.
Compared to things like Steam Greenlight.
Yeah, that was the other thing as well, is that it is very, like, obviously Discord isn't a game distribution platform, but Steam's very top down. Discord isn't.
Yes, yeah. And just to mention, Steam Greenlight's actually been shafted. It's no longer
really?
there.
When was
Yeah,
that?
it's now called Steam Direct. Back in 2017, I think. I was honestly surprised. I was like, wow, that happened so long ago. I
did not know that. I mean, I didn't know about Discord Nitro, but that was last week. I'm 2 years behind. That bodes well. So yeah.
But you see, but the thing with Steam Greenlight and Steam Direct does a very similar thing at its core, basically, is that it's pretty much a yay or nay whether you want the game to be up on Steam. Right. But see, Discord, you're able to actually kind of pick apart, in terms of the polling, pick apart features of the game, and this is definitely done on Stormworks a lot.
Yeah.
Rather than like just going, no, the whole game is ruined. I don't like that feature. Do you know what I mean? And another thing to add is that Steam is much better at doing. Discord is much better at doing that than external like websites dedicated to basically posting your own opinions.
Yeah. Well, it's like
so
Yeah.
Go.
No, you go.
So Stormwork has actually got, I think they started off with a website and it was basically post what you want to see on the game here. And like, although it has had a lot of posts made to it, there's no like back and forth discussion. It's not as active as Discord when it comes to basically offering advice to the developers. And literally it kind of be compared in terms of developers actually responding, I should say, to suggestions. So yeah, that's just what I had to say about
that. That's fantastic, and like clearly you've got more experience with that indie game scene than I have, because I would like to play more indie games, but I just don't, because I'm a creature of habit, and I'm one of those people who just plays games that he bought 5 years ago. But it's the way of it, and I guess with like some other sort of vintage games as well, there are people there who do have those kind of communities. But I guess to wrap up, Discord going forward, are there any ongoing problems that we can kind of see with it, or are we?
Ooh.
And this is just off the top of your head, like we haven't really researched this, but like, are there any issues that you can foresee with Discord running? Because
Well, Discord's very good for a start. I think we both agree, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But especially you noted the fact that Discord isn't doing anything special. There's been a whole lot of platforms and apps before it that kind of did a very similar thing, right?
Yeah.
So in the same sense, Discord's always going to be very careful as to there's being a new competitor that is able to kind of hone its craft a little better, and then everyone moving over to kind of a new platform.
Yeah.
And because Discord's mainly on PC and not many people use it on their phones, I would say, I forgot where I was going with this. Have you got?
I think I kind of know what, like, it does have a very much a restricted audience. So it's either going to be in future they're going to bring it to console, they're going to make the mobile application. I don't know. I'm not really sure how that one would make the mobile application better, because I think it's doing as good a job as it can as a touchscreen port of a PC thing.
Oh yes, that is. Sorry, you continue.
No, that was basically me. But like, they're either going to bring it to console in some way, or it's going to stay, or somebody's going to do it before them, and then we'll see that Discord really isn't that special. It's just more of a right place and right time kind of thing, particularly for the rise of like streaming culture and all the rest of it now, with like what the gamer of the late 2010s is going to be on Discord.
Well, the big thing for companies to survive is to always add kind of value to their products, and we saw Discord try and do that with the Discord Nitro, the Nitro games.
Yeah,
and we saw how that tanked.
So how are they going to go with like making money off it? That's the question. Yeah. That's the question of late 2010s, of post GFC sort of startup culture. Like, we saw. I mean, this is way off topic, but WeWork, the founder of that, who tanked the company, just sold it for $1.36 billion US, billion with a B, which is like Okay, sure, but the company made a loss just about every year that it was around. The same goes for Uber, the same goes for Lyft, the same
Mm.
goes, I'm sure, for just about every self-respecting company in Silicon Valley. Like, how's that going to go when the market decides to start working the way it should? That's
Yeah,
I
yeah,
sound like a business academic. Ugh.
something to look forward to, really.
Oh, gross. All right. Well, that was good fun. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
No,
All right,
I
thank you. That was a
and
good discussion.
that was a good discussion. And I guess as always, see you online.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.